And also we're going to have Dr. Rob Beedman, also the scientist who again worked with David Attenborough on this series as well. So you're meeting the important people who made this happen, and the people who have been part of it who made this happen, particularly for the first series. And we've got our dancers who you will see on the screen as well in the David Attenborough series tonight. They're here as well, and they're going to perform for you again. But if I can have Teresa, where is she?
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to this event. I'm very glad everyone's come out despite the weather. Shows that we're all proud supporters here of the local community. That's awesome. I'll just keep it quick. Basically, I became part of this project late 2013. I got an inquiry from a film crew just asking about coral spawning event, and I started helping them out with the filming of that, or the planning of that. And then it kind of just snowballed on and became this massive event, and then down the track I found out it was going to be a David Attenborough documentary, which also obviously is a big deal, especially with people in the area. So my role in this was a specialist researcher. So they wanted to film Great Barrier Reef, and they wanted to know what animals do we film, what should we film, who do we talk to. And so I got to be part of that process of contacting different researchers and different scientists, and looking at what sort of stories would be great to really capture what it is to be on the Great Barrier Reef, and to, how it all works, and the different people who are doing this amazing research. So part of that was contacting scientists, but then again getting this history and this culture. And probably the best bit for me was then meeting Henrietta and Guju and the extended sort of family, and learning about this amazing story and their culture. And I've done lots of filming in the past for different scientific shows and wildlife shows, but I've never been part of something that had this culture attached to it. And I must say that watching the sort of the rehearsals and leading up to the filming of this scene that you'll see tonight was just amazing to be part of. Just complete goosebump moments to learn about the history of this land that so many of us now get to call home. And seeing, as a scientist myself, seeing scientific research and how it ties in beautifully with this culture and this history was just incredible. I'm lucky enough to know some amazing researchers and use these contacts. And a lot of people that I'm lucky enough to call friends got to work on this as well, which again just made this even more special for me. So seeing it all come to a head, seeing these people get to be involved and sharing it with everyone here tonight has just been amazing. So I'm going to step back now, and before I go, I must say thank you to the sponsors for this night. Obviously we've brought everyone together. The courthouse has been amazing providing the venue, but also Sue Kelly, who's from Division of Tropical Environmental Sciences at James Cook University, has put money forward so we can enjoy some lovely snacks and nibbles here tonight as well. And my mum, who's an awesome supporter as well, an unofficial sponsor, but she's flying the flag. And yeah, without further ado then, I might introduce Richard Fitzpatrick.
Yeah, good evening everyone. My name is Richard Fitzpatrick. I'm from Biopixel. We're a local natural history production company, so we were basically commissioned to do most of the natural history through the series, with the exception of the minke whale stuff, which was done by Dean Miller over there, and also the manta ray stuff, which the guys did themselves. So most of my stuff is a lot of macro work. I spent a lot of time with the turtles and stuff up at Rain Island as well. In the first episode tonight, you'll see a lot of different stuff we worked on, but probably the two sequences which were done out of James Cook University in the aquarium studio that we have there. One was the clownfish. So when we first started talking to David about what's new about clownfish, I pointed out that no one's actually ever seen a clownfish hatch, or no one's ever filmed it. And I've been working on that for about 10 or 15 years, so we finally developed the technique to see baby Nemos come out, and basically Daddy, as soon as the sun goes down, Daddy kicks them out. So that's what happens there. The hardest sequence was probably the mantis shrimp, which you'll see tonight. In talking to Sir David, he had this idea in his head where he'd been told in the past about how mantis shrimp go through elaborate courtship dances, and he really wanted to capture this. I searched the scientific literature and we couldn't find anything about it, and we talked to a lot of people and no one really knew about it, but David had this idea of this beautiful dance that they do. So we started introducing males to females, and it just wasn't happening. The male would just sort of go, bow wow chicky bow baby, and just do what mantis shrimp do. And so we were developing techniques, we're trying to keep the male stressed, and as soon as you put him in next to the female, bang, you just, you know, no foreplay, no courtship or anything at all. So over months we're trying to tell David, these are Australian mantis shrimp, okay? There is none of this foreplay or courtship happening here at all. So what you'll see tonight is about as much as we could get out of these animals. Probably my favourite sequence will be in next week's episode, which is all about Rain Island, a big component there. The thing about Rain Island, it's to me the most special island on the Great Barrier Reef. It's the most significant place for turtles and seabirds, and my passions are tiger sharks. Up there at the moment, I don't know if you know, but there's a lot of work being done where we're trying to change the profile of the beaches to help the turtles, to help the turtle eggs. It's one of the few good news stories coming out of the Great Barrier Reef at the moment. Particularly at the moment, lots of negative stories of bleaching and all that kind of stuff. And we do have some of the Rain Island research team here, and some of them just literally hopped off the boat today. Andy Dunstan's running the program up there, and there's a lot of work being done up there, so it's an amazing place. So make sure you watch next week's episode. You'll see a few bits and pieces at the end of this episode tonight. Yeah, it's always an honour to have his voice over your images. The first time you see the rough cuts, when his voice is coming in, it is pretty special. So yeah, so there is some good things happening on the reef at the moment. Obviously there's a lot of bad things happening at the moment, but yeah, hopefully we'll have a net positive outcome, but we'll see how we go over the next couple of weeks with the current bleaching event. Actually, where we filmed most of the behaviour stuff for Attenborough in a special spot out here at just off Cairns, it is 100% bleached out at the moment, so which is pretty depressing when you go out there.
And Rain Island is really low bleaching.
And well, there you go. Rain Island's very low bleaching. You heard it from the man himself. And we've got good baby turtle numbers coming out this year as well, which is thumbs up. Okay, I'll hand you over now to Dr. Rob Beeman.
Look, I'm part of a very large team of research scientists that were involved, and as Teresa said, she knows us, we're friends of hers, and we got a call up late in 2014, around October, and my specialty is seafloor mapping, and we've been doing this for a long time, working with the Australian government, in particular the Royal Australian Navy, right here in Cairns. And so a lot of that data has actually been pulled and compiled all together into a giant three-dimensional model, the sort of thing that you might see in 3D games. We've done it for the entire Great Barrier Reef and Coral Sea. So when we got the call up to be part of this production, the idea was that I would go in there and explain to David Attenborough that bigger picture, what the Great Barrier Reef looks like beyond the depths that you can go scuba diving to, which is, say, about 20 metres. So what is the deep Great Barrier Reef, and what does that look like? So we have the ability now to actually strip away the water and show everyone, the public and for this production, what the Great Barrier Reef looks like, to give a sense of scale and complexity, because the Great Barrier Reef is far more than just coral reefs, although obviously they're very important. I was brought onto the Aleutian. This is this very special vessel that we'll see a lot of in the series. It really is an amazing ship. It travels around the world. It's got a Triton submersible, so it's a manned submersible. It's got a lot of other technology. About an hour by myself with David Attenborough, and he is a lovely man. It was just a goosebumps thinking about it. He asks great questions. He is very sharp. You know, I think he's hitting about 80, 89, 90 this year, 91. Right, this man is sharp. He asks great questions. He has a lifetime of natural history experience. And we sat there and I was able to pull out my computer and some of the literature we had, and I was able to, in very short time, talk about what he might see out there, because this submersible goes down to about 300-400 metres. Origin of the Great Barrier Reef. And again, amazing connection. It's the scientific observations matches very well with the Aboriginal dreaming story. So that comes through very nicely in this first series. It's a beautiful part to watch. It really brings in that science-culture connection, of which I'm really proud to be part of. So thank you very much.
Thanks, Teresa. I want to reiterate that working with David Attenborough and meeting him, and especially our younger generation of yidinji people meeting with him, he is such a lovely man and a very inspirational man. And when he spoke to our children, they all knew a lot of his work, so they were very familiar with some of his past theories, and you can imagine what that does to someone. It's very inspirational, particularly to our younger. I just want to say that the story you're hearing is the Yidinji story about the reef. It's not an Aboriginal story for all of Aboriginal Australia. This is a Yidinji story, and that has to be emphasised. It's gimuy Yidinji people. And now the person who spoke with David on this is right next to me, and he's going to tell you about that experience and working with him, telling him this history about the formation of the reef. Could you?
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, just in regards to the Great Barrier Reef, and I suppose before meeting David Attenborough, I actually met Robin. Rob at there was a reef symposium here in Cairns back in 2012, wasn't it? 2012, 2013? Yeah, 2012, and we actually, myself and my partner, we actually had his photo of the floor of the Great Barrier Reef that he took a photo of, and we actually put on that in regards to how story that related to the Great Barrier Reef and how the water was actually that far out before, and where the water was actually below the cliff's edge. And there was a photo that was actually that we took off the JCU website, and we actually, Rob actually came and he said, "Oh, you know, that's my photo." And I said, "Yeah, mate, but we actually put you up there actually as the person who took the photo." But we actually, in the actual event that was happening, we talked about the Great Barrier Reef and how our stories tell about our people actually spearing one of our sacred fish. And in doing that, the wave came in. So the actual fish that we're talking about is the stingray. So, and the stingray still got the barb with the spear still in its tail. So, and we are always cautioned about trying to swim behind the stingray or trying to actually tail the stingray. And I know we had a very well-known hunter that actually was hit by the stingray tail. And but we are told in our custom never to do that. And that's one of the stories that relate to the Great Barrier Reef. And the actual stingray got actually angry and started to make the water rise, and the water raised to where it is today in Cairns. And I actually spoke with David about that, and I'm very honoured and pleased that I did get to meet him. And my fond memory of me and him was actually sitting on a rock, and you'll see that in the interview. We're actually both sitting on a rock, but before sitting on that rock, him and I were actually arguing over who was going to sit on a cushion. I was trying to give it to him, but he said, "No, you have it." And I said, "You're older than me, you know, like, you should be having this." And he said, "Oh, no, you know," he said, he was actually aware that I had a stroke as well, you know, and I knew that he was older, but he said, and I said, "Look, no, it's all right, mate, you know, because I've been sitting on rocks for years, it's fine, you know," like, and he says, no, it's okay. He said, "I'll sit over here, you know, and you sit there." So, yeah, so my memory of David Attenborough is arguing over a pillow to sit on a rock. But we did have many talks in between, sitting down and talking about the rocks, and we actually spoke about the connection between my people and the Great Barrier Reef and where it is today. And I know that today we're actually in a bit of a quandary, and look, everybody here who is part of Cairns, and especially the far north Queensland area, that area belongs to you as well. Like, and we all need to protect it. It's something that we need to do. not just us, not just the scientists, but we all need to do it as a community, because if it goes, a lot of things out there in the ocean will go. Now, if people rely on tourism, the tourist will go. If everybody relies on the fish, you know, our coral trout, they'll be gone as well. So our fish industry will actually be affected by it. So we all need to probably, you know, rally around the politicians as well, and to save the reef, because that reef belongs to everybody that's here. It's thousands of years old, but your connection to it is the same as my people, and we need to look after it. So I also want to introduce, you're going to see the dancers that are going to be dancing up there, but I'm going to introduce the ladies that were actually involved, my cousins. So I'll get Teresa to introduce you to them, and they can probably tell you a little bit of story, because they know, they don't want to tell a story, but anyway, I'm going to get them to come up here. So Teresa as well, and Michelle. Raya coming here as well. Now, they also were in, you'll see them in the movie tonight, the documentary tonight with David Attenborough. They actually danced the story dance that our people have been doing for, you know, for years, thousands of years. So the girls aren't dancing tonight, but the boys will be. So you'll see the boys later. So I won't have to introduce them. I'll probably introduce them to dance. But I wanted to bring the girls up here, and I think they were very shy, because they also gave a shield to David Attenborough. You want to talk about it? No? Nah. A bit shy, but they actually presented David Attenborough with a shield, so as well. And maybe a little bit later on in the year, we might do a photo session with the photos that some of us actually had with David Attenborough, and hopefully maybe try to raise some money to actually do something about the reef and looking after the reef as well. So I'd just like to say thank you everybody for coming along and contributing here tonight. But we'd like you, and like I said before, that reef belongs to all of us here. We all need to protect it, and we all need to look after it. So thank you, and yeah, I think my sister here, my older sister here, so I've got to give it back to her.
I've got to say that for Teresa and the young girls here who dance with the film crew, spend the whole day. We spend a whole day there going through it over and over and over and rehearsing, and then hunting out for fish and also oysters at the same time, which you will see actually in the film that comes that'll be showing tonight. And it's a really great honour to be part of the series with Sir David Attenborough, and also recognising the regional people from this country, the Yidinji people. But I want to say that I also want to say what Rob said, that you know the reef is so important. There's a lot of coral bleaching. Coral bleaching's been happening in the seashells in 1997, and the government did not take it seriously then. It's a time when I was working with the United Nations Environment Program, and it was such a serious issue back then, but Australia didn't take it seriously. I think it's now about time that Australia start taking seriously the reef and again looking after the reef. Because a lot of our environmental issue that's happening, again, it's also happening in the Amazon. I've got a close friend who's working in the Amazon with the women in Ecuador, and it seems that the Ecuadorian government has sold land to the Chinese and a huge area of land that's going to be taken over for mining and for timber. And this is a serious issue, particularly with the runoff into the ocean. So again, we are combating a lot of this kind of environmental issue that's happening all over the world, and we've got to look after our reef, because it is part of who we are. It's also part of our identity, and particularly our identity as gimuy walubara. But I'd really like to thank the people who spoke tonight, both Rob and also Richard and Teresa. Without these and Guju, without them, and also the dancers, without them, this first series probably would not have taken place. But they really make the film for what it is, and they really bring value to it and add value to this particular series of Sir David Attenborough series. So it's really an honour to have these people recognised tonight and talk about their experience and their part in this whole, in putting this film together. So I thank you, and Teresa, wherever you are, thanks a lot. We really worked well together. But enjoy the night and enjoy the series, the film tonight.
At the front of the screen, I think. So yeah.
I'm just kidding.
Starts with its most important inhabitant, the coral itself. Hidden inside these branching structures are the thousands of tiny creatures that build these reefs. This community has dwelt alongside the reef for thousands of years. And many of their traditions hark back to those ancient times. And one of them tells how the reef came into existence. It's a legend that has been passed down from generation to generation in the form of a dance. Tell me the story that's connected to this dance, sir.
It's part of our law story. It's told to me by my dad, my father, and it was told to him by his father and his grandfather as well.
The part of the dance that really interests me is the story of gimuy. and the sacred fish.
The story starts with Kunya going out to sea. He saw a glitter in the water, which he thought was a fish. And when he speared it, he actually speared out a sacred fish, the stingray. So the fish got angry and started to rise.